Hello and welcome to Charlotte Astrology. My name is Charlotte. I'm a full-time working astrologer, and on this channel I analyse the astrological charts of public figures. And very often they are celebrities, and they normally come in the form of actors, artists, musicians, politicians, royalty, and even serial killers. But today I'll be analysing an actress's chart, a very talented actress with musical aptitude, that's for sure. And of course I'm talking about Ms. Rachel Zegler. So she's been in the news cycle quite a few times in the last few years. I first heard of her when she was in the film, or the new version of West Side Story. I'm very attached to the 1961 Natalie Wood version of West Side Story, and she played Maria, which was Natalie Wood's role in the most recent one, and it's a very similar film from what I understand. The costumes are the same, but let me know if you like that movie, the most recent West Side Story. Let me know if I should watch it. I just don't want to soil my memory of the first one, because I'm a bit Puritan when it comes to my films. Anyway, she was in that, and she did really well in that. And then she was in one of the Hunger Games films. And most recently, she played Snow White in Disney's live-action remake of the animated film. Now, even though this movie should have been the biggest one of her career, right? It didn't do very well at the box office, and that she's been scapegoated, obviously. But Disney have a lot of explaining to do, because they Instead of giving 7 talented actors the roles of the little people, the dwarves, they made them all CGI. And it looks like a little bit of the whole film, from what I've seen from the trailer, it looks like a little bit of a mind fuck. And it doesn't look that great. But Rachel seems to be getting some really good reviews despite the flaws of this film. She seems to be the one bright shining spot of it. So I know that her comments about the old fairy tale haven't been that great. She puts her foot in her mouth. That seems to be the thing that sparked this hate train, this Rachel Zegler hate train. But really, you know what she was doing? She was just regurgitating what the Disney executives fed to her when she got the role, because she's a Gen Z feminist girly, okay? And yeah, there are ebbs and flows when it comes to political movements. 2017 through to 2020, it was like, yes, feminism, and then there's now been a backlash, and so that's fed into this as well. But yeah, she's put her foot in her mouth, and she, the comments that she made about Snow White, the original, which was high art, okay? The original Snow White animated feature, which was the first Disney film ever made, is high art. So she had some nerve saying that, but at the same time, she's a 20-year-old girl. She's a 20-year-old girl who doesn't say stupid stuff in their early 20s, okay? So let's have some compassion for her. Let's give her some grace. So what I wanted to do today is have a look at her chart, read her chart, understand who she is, what she's about, and why has she been going through such a hard time lately, and potentially let's look at some of these transits up here which are impacting her career and reputation. Okay, so this will be a bit of a transit reading as well. Before I dive in, I just want you guys to know I do offer readings. I've got 16-minute readings where you can meet me over Zoom and we can talk about your chart and tear it up like I do right here. Laugh and cry and all sorts. And then I also have 15-minute and 5-minute recorded readings, which is a recording of my voice analyzing your chart. The 15-minute ones are for full chart readings, synastry readings, and transit readings, and the 5-minute ones are for focused readings for specific areas of your life or specific areas of your chart you would like insight into. So if you'd like to support me, that's a really great way to do it. Get a reading, especially since one day, at some point, I will not be offering them anymore. One hopes, because this channel will grow so big that I won't need to do readings anymore. I also do members. It's only one tier. I do YouTube members. It's only one tier. It's £5 a month, and on there you can get extra content, extra celebrity readings, educational content, and yeah, I counted. I've done almost 30 videos for members. So yeah, they rack up really quickly. So if you'd like that, that's the best way to support me financially, so I can keep doing what I'm doing. And if you don't want to do any of that because you don't want to give me money, and that is fine, it's a hard economy, if you can like, subscribe, comment, ring the bell, and help me with the algorithm, that is also amazing. So thank you so much. Okay, so let's dive into Rachel Zegler's chart, and let's talk about all the things. All right. So Rachel Zegler is a Taurus Sun and Mercury. She's got a Venus in Aries. She's got a Mars in Sagittarius, and she's got a Moon in Virgo and a rising in Cancer. So yeah, there's a lot going on here. So let's talk about this Sun in Taurus. So she's what I call an Aquarius Taurus because she's an 11th house Sun. So if you've got your Sun in the 11th house, it can denote popularity, yes, but it can also indicate someone that is highly polarizing, right? The 11th house is the networks, right? So if you've got a placement in the 11th house, you can have a great time there, but equally you can have a very hard time there because you're being consumed and viewed by the public a lot. Now, the Sun represents your creative force, your ego, your creative energy. It's like what's visible. The Sun comes out and it's visible, right? It's what you put out to the world that is visible. Now, this is in the 11th house of the public, the internet. She's got a square here with Neptune. So when you have a Neptune square the Sun, Neptune is a generational planet. When it's not nicely aspecting the Sun in a public house, you're going to be publicly betrayed. So I could interpret that as Disney ripped the rug right out from under her, this little girl, okay? When you have a generational planet, especially Neptune, because Neptune is like hell and it's heaven, you're going to have a lot of ego issues. I think she does deal with some self-esteem issues. I think she puts on a very brave face, but she has a lot of trouble with her sense of self-worth, and she has to really fight that. The squares are the biggest lessons of your life. It's not just Saturn that indicates lessons, it's also the squares. And she will be betrayed. She has been betrayed already. She's very young, and I don't blame her for not taking it very well. There's confidence issues here. There's betrayal here. And I think how this can play out in a negative way is if she delusionally believes in herself and then people tell her to stop shining her light, fit in your little box, do as we say. Because a generational planet squaring the Sun, which is a personal planet, right? You're going to come up against patriarchy, society, potentially religious systems, right? Because the generational planets represent things that are bigger than you. So if the generational planets are not nicely aspected the Sun, your creative force, that light within you may be dampened down. Like you may have water thrown on you. Put out that fiery light. Shut up. Do as we say. And her response, and I've seen videos of her do this, is to be delusional in her self-belief. And that's probably the best thing she can do, even if it doesn't really serve her reputation. She probably shouldn't be filming it. It's very Gen Z to do that. But be delusional about your self-belief. And I have Neptune square the Sun as well. And I do have people telling me to shut the fuck up and get back in my, but I'm an Aries Sun, so screw that. You tell an Aries what to do, we're going to do the opposite. She will be disgraced, and she has to learn to be okay with that, with people not liking her. And I think when it comes to placement like this is understand that a lot of people are going to betray you. A lot of people are going to betray you, and you got to learn to take it and brush it off. It hurts when you're young, but as you get older and more people betray you, it's like every year. Every year I've got a drama, I swear. This Neptune square, the Sun plays out, and I'm like, oh, here we go again. So she's got to learn how to, shake it off, basically. She's got to put on a Taylor Swift song. But yeah, not an easy placement. Also, Neptune in the 8th, there could be some legacy stuff, some family stuff, some dark family stuff. I know nothing about her personal life. I know nothing about her family. But the 8th house is it's a legacy house. It's one of the family houses along with the 4th. I'm wondering if there are some dark family secrets, trouble with money in the family, trouble with family members, that will impact her reputation at some point later on in life. We'll see how that goes, because Neptune square the Sun is like dealing with betrayals all the time, and if the Neptune's in the 8th, that could be family. Could also be trouble with finances, that could end up embarrassing her at some point. So just because it's in a public part. If this was in a below the horizon line, below below the line, not above the line, then I could be like, it's a private battle, but it looks like a very public battle. Now with her Mercury, remember Mercury represents the voice and the mind and communication. That is a voice that must be heard. Mercury in Taurus is a beautiful one for singing. And Mercury in the 11th house is a public voice, and she has made it very known her stance in regards to Gaza, and also obviously feminism. So it's 11th house is a bit of a political house. It's a publicly political house, and she has a Mercury here, so she's going to be publicly political, and it will disgrace her because she's got squares to that too. Uranus square Mercury. She's clunky. She's awkward in how she expresses her political views. It's not graceful. It's not poetic. She's just, she says what she says and she means it, and she gets in trouble for that as well. And it comes off, I don't want to say it comes off as disingenuous. It's just clunky and awkward, you know. Where she does well with the Mercury, the moon. Why am I touching my voice? The moon, trine the Mercury, it works really well. What does work well with her Mercury, okay, so moon is feeling, right? The moon is emotions, emotional processing. When it's trining the Mercury, indicates when she's feeling something and she expresses it through her voice, it's beautiful and she's beloved. And I think that this works really well on a stage, obviously on the screen. And if she can't have her movie career for a few years, I think she should go to the West End. I think she should go to... I think she needs to go to New York and do some plays. I think she'd do really well treading the boards, so to speak. She would do great as a stage actress if she ever gets sick of film. That might be more becoming to her. But yeah, Moon trine Mercury. This trine here, this big blue line between the moon and the Mercury is like, feeling, that depth of feeling, translating very well into song, or into, if she can compose a speech and not speak off the cuff, and if she can compose something, whether it be a speech or a song, it does really, really well. I think she just needs a bit more planning there. She needs, but when she just says things, that's that Uranus square Mercury. It's very awkward. So and the moon trine the sun as well. I actually I think she's quite, don't get me wrong, she puts her foot in her mouth, but there's a lot of lovely qualities about her. She's definitely creative here. She's definitely creative. All right, so let's have a look at this Venus. Venus in Aries, very, very gorgeous Venus. That's like the Marilyn Monroe, Audrey Hepburn, Elizabeth Taylor Venus. It's like, the thing is, there's drama in the love life. How is her love life? Does anybody know? Put it in the comments. But a Venus in Aries, Venus in Aries is kind of crazy. They might get married a few times. Gorgeous placement, but a bit fickle in love, get bored easily. What does a Venus in Aries need? Attention. What does fire need? It needs a lot of wood to burn. So the love life could be fraught with drama. Venus in the 10th house also indicates falling in love with colleagues. Has she dated a colleague yet? I'm not sure. I don't know anything about her, but I wouldn't be surprised if she has or if she does. Venus in the 10th house is also someone who's going to be known for her beauty. So that is there. Yeah, known for her beauty and her charm. I mean, when she is charming, she doesn't put her foot in her mouth. Now, she released this film, or the studio released this film, during a Venus retrograde. And she has, a Venus in Aries retrograde, and she has an Aries Venus in her 10th house of work. So this was meant to be a very successful project. This was meant to make her a lot of money, and it didn't work out that way. I mean, she got a good payday. It is Disney. But it wasn't received very well. This was meant to be promising. This was meant to be great for her career, and it's just been disappointing. Poor darling. And also, it's a Mercury retrograde. A Mercury retrograde through her 10th house. When Mercury's going in retrograde through my midheaven, I don't work that much for a reason. Generally, in Mercury retrogrades, I don't work as much. That's why I'm literally, I'm still working. I'm just not seeing as many people right now, because Mercury retrograde's got me messed up. So she needs to take a rest at the moment. It's not nice when you've got 2 retrogrades, which are long. Feels like forever that these transits are happening. Going through a 10th house of career, she's not being received well. And Saturn is also sitting on her midheaven. I think Saturn's currently at 26 or 27 degrees, something like that. It's like sitting on her midheaven, challenging her, teaching her a lot about how to manage her reputation. And yeah, this is a transit where you got to be quiet. And the North Node has just entered the chat. The North Node is like poking her up here. So it's, yes, Saturn in the North Node sitting on the midheaven. She's going through a reputational downfall. She'll find it again. I think it's a bit of a downturn. She'll have an upturn. She'll find her way back, but this is not an easy transit. Saturn will continue to go through Aries for the next 4 years. 3 years, and I think she'll find success again. She will find it. Like I have hope. There's a lot of hope for her. She's just very young. That's all. She's going through this was meant to be a career highlight. This was meant to be like a very promising time for her, and it's been a bit anticlimactic with all these transits up here. Also, I took this snapshot of this chart yesterday when there was a big eclipse in her 10th house, so we'll see how this unfolds over the next 2 months or years. I read somewhere that she might be suing Disney. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if she's going to be taking legal action. I'm not sure, but someone told me that, and I'm like, oh, that's very fitting. I don't know if it will happen. Maybe, it probably won't, but there's a lot going on here. She's definitely talking to the producers of Disney and her agents and her managers right now. It's very, very chaotic up here. And the South Node going through Virgo on her moon, her IC, there's definitely some upheaval or loss around family right now. She's probably, if she hasn't let go of some people close to her, then she will. The South Node just ripped through my Libra moon, and a lot of people had to be let go. It wasn't fun. And this is like not just family. It doesn't necessarily indicate family, although it is, the IC is also in Virgo, which is the family, marks out the family house. It's like close friends, like childhood friends. She's 23. I do think that she might have to let go of some childhood loves, like childhood friends. That's like people very, very close to her, which is kind of sad. She will be successful. She will be successful again. She'll find her feet. She's very young and going through a lot right now. Being publicly hated is not fun. Now, she also has a Mars in Sagittarius, and it's in a conjunction with Chiron and Pluto. She might be perceived as quite aggressive. She's just... A Mars in Sagittarius doesn't like to be told what to do. And her Mars is in the 6th house of work and everyday routines. She needs a lot of control over her projects, over her routines, over her... Right? It's a bit of... It's the Virgo house. She's got a Mars in Sagittarius in the Virgo house with Pluto and Chiron. She is susceptible to a lot of stress. She could make herself sick. That's why she needs to control her environment. I do see her doing very well as a bit of a boss when she's older, right? Being a young girl and a boss babe feminist, it doesn't translate well. It translates better when you're an older woman, you know? And Chiron with Mars, with Pluto, asserting herself is just going to get her wounded. It's almost like she shoots herself in the foot. She takes out the gun and takes aim and it inadvertently shoots herself. That's what this energy gives in the 6th house. I don't want to say she's aggressive or mean or anything like that, but she can come off that way with that placement. She can come off that way. Oh yeah, and it squares her moon as well. That's not easy. Mars square moon. Very critical. And keep in mind the moon governs her 1st house, her Cancer ascendant. Voicing her concern or her empathy, it can come off as hypercritical. Mars in Sagittarius square the moon in Virgo. She hurts herself. Her being over perfectionistic and worried all the time and controlling of her environment, and if this plays out as bossing around people, she's only going to hurt herself. She needs to relax. The moon trine the sun and the Mercury does really well in a relaxed creative energy, but it's that need for control over her projects, which is gonna it can indicate that she's not very collaborative sometimes. She has to learn how to collaborate though. South Node in the 7th house in Capricorn, I do think that she's accustomed to being a people pleaser and working in partnership with people, and there's not a lot of win for her. Her North Node is in Cancer. I think when she comes into her motherhood or her maternal energy, she'll find herself a bit more. Literally, North Node in Cancer is like motherhood. I've seen a lot of North Nodes in Cancer not have babies. It's fine, you don't have to, but it's coming into your feminine maternal energy. And when she gets into that, she'll find herself, she'll find her confidence and have more control over her projects. And she needs to learn how to collaborate with people without, well, she's always going to be a bit of a control freak, but she needs to have control over her projects, and she needs to learn how to balance the need for control over her projects with the need to be collaborative. Be in her feminine, be receptive, but still be able to take charge. Yeah, it's a fine line, isn't it? She's a firecracker, though. She really is a firecracker. I think she means well. Rachel, if you're watching, please don't ever release a film again on a Venus, Mercury retrograde through your 10th house. Don't do that again. Put in your contract, please, darling. Does anyone know anything about her father? If I did this whole sign, that Saturn and that Jupiter play out in her 12th house, how's her love life? Is her dad gone? Is her dad, like, missing in some way? Like, I don't know. She might be really close to her father. I'm not sure. But when Saturn plays out in the 12th house, it's like there's a lack of structure, a lack of patriarchal figures are disappointing, or she doesn't have a lot of structure, because usually a masculine energy provides the structure. Like the patriarchal energy provides structure, and it just seems like she doesn't have a lot of structure, and men betray her a little bit in her chart. There's a lot of like male betrayal. Oh my god, that rhymes. Male betrayal. Yeah. She'll be fine. She'll be okay. She's got a lot of lessons to learn. But she's gonna be successful. And if the movie career isn't what she wants it to be, she will always find work on the stage, because she's talented and she's multifaceted. So, yeah. Oh, that poor Virgo moon. The Virgo placements are not having a good time right now. Beyonce's not selling tickets to her concerts. Blake Lively is spending a lot of money on lawyers and PR. And Rachel Zegler, who is also probably spending a lot of money on PR. But she's also losing people around her at the moment. So, yeah. Anyway, that was my reading for Rachel Zegler. What do you think? What do you think of her movies? What do you think of her? I choose to be compassionate because, as you know, we do astrology here. We're trying to understand people. And when you understand people, you don't hate people. So that's why we're here. We don't do that. Anyway, much love to you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. And please put in the comments below if you would like to see, would you like to see Gal Gadot's synastry with Rachel Zegler? Because like, my friend told me, she's like, I heard that they don't get along. And I looked at their charts and they have the same placement. They're both Taurus suns with Aries Venuses and Virgo moons. And I was like, what? Anyway, put in the comments. Love you guys. Bye.